Right, as me say, I stop me, I'm chicken too. How we gonna stop?
Alright. Chicken for this. Yo,
How
we
the
are
hell
going.
me I gonna stop me, I'm chicken,
We
right?
are moving up.
Eh? Yeah, what's your man? I'm gonna give you a bag for that too. Me not lie. I believe this was all planned. Yeah man, Perdix, this was all planned. Style we not use for lick out best dress out of business. You know see that? No man, them chicken I eat different. Sweet. No sir. We need the next container for turn over right now.
Culture says chicken from a container which was washed ashore on Thursday along the Hellshire coastline was not intended for the Jamaican market. The container reportedly fell from a vessel while in transit to the Cayman Islands. The product was labeled under the Brazilian brand Perdix. Videos of looting have been making rounds on social media, and the ministry is appealing to the public against consuming, selling, or distributing the chicken products. Persons are also advised not to feed it to animals. It also asserts that the product would not have been maintained under ideal cold chain conditions, raising serious concerns about food safety and spoilage. The public is being urged to report any instances of sale or distribution of these products to the relevant authorities.
Hi, viewers and subscribers. Welcome to another session in Authentic Sessions with BB. As you would have heard in this clip, thanks to TVJ, the container that was destined for the Cayman Islands that washed up on the shores in Jamaica, Hellshire to be exact. There are concerns surrounding the contents of all that was in the container, which was a chicken under the brand Perdix, and it's a Brazil brand. So residents are warned not to consume the chicken, not to distribute it, not to basically dispose of it. Not even good enough for animal consumption. So, and today there's even more questions than answers because, for one would think that the chicken going to Cayman Islands, it would be for human consumption, right? But then, with all these advisories going out of Jamaicans not to consume it and all that, it has me wondering, like, wasn't it destined for human consumption in Cayman? But I get it, because what information I'm reading and I'm receiving is that yes, maybe because the time the container fell and the amount of days the contents were at sea, you would have some, if they were not refrigerated or under correct temperatures, along with a whole lot of other stuff like contamination at sea, the length of time the container was in the water, bacteria and other stuff from the sea coming in contact with the meat and all that. There's a lot of variables that would make something not fit for human consumption. But there are even more questions than answers. For one, for me, was it a case where before the vessel left, was it a case where there wasn't proper lashing? Because if one knows how a vessel is packed with containers, there's a special way that it's packed. So it's packed. You have it's called lashing, where you'll have the lock and interlockings of containers that they hold together. So even in rough weather, they still hold together. And again, why only one container fell from the vessel? I would think that how it is, the formation and how it is locked for some things, and persons who have knowledge of how containers are shipped, how they are prepared and all that, um, it can give, like, even educate viewers more on how this process is done. But from the little that I see, and know, there's a special way of locking those containers. So even in the roughest of weather, they would stay in place, and just say for one container to fall off a vessel, which it does happen, and then for it to end up in Jamaican waters, that is another thing. Um, Another question is also, um, where were the relevant authorities in all of this? Because, like, we're talking about being proactive here, right? Okay. In covering this story, I went through a couple of clippings and a couple of interviews on the story. I saw where the lieutenant commander of the JDF, sorry, JPS, he was on an interview, and let me not quote what he says. I'm actually gonna let you hear what he says, and it really doesn't make any sense to me. So I'll just go ahead and play this clip of the interview. TVJ again, thank you TVJ again for this clip. They were interviewing him, and this was his response to the questions that they were asking.
The vessels are entering any port or harbor or traversing in our maritime space, then they have to notify Shipping and Port Authority. Once the situation with the container developed, which is an unplanned incident, the container fell overboard on and around Friday evening.
That was Friday, March 30, so it took about a week to travel to the Hellshire coastline. Speaking on TVJ's Smile Jamaica program today, Lieutenant Commander Miguel Ferguson said all the protocols were activated as soon as the ship informed the Coast Guard that the container fell from the vessel. First, they alerted the other shipping vessels in the area to prevent collisions with the container, and he confirmed that the Coast Guard knew exactly what was in the container.
Okay, and just to pause there, yes, they activated all protocols, and for me, they weren't being proactive. But I'll just finish playing the clip, and then I'll give my 1 cent on that.
All containers, Neville, I would indicate that the container number and the manifest for the Port Authority will indicate to you what's in the container. So the container was indicated to have a poultry within the container, which is known to the authorities through the manifest.
Also, was there a way to know where the container would end up?
For the equatorial current that surrounds Jamaica, there's a particular drift generally to the west or southwestern direction. So once the container fell overboard in the respective area, the understanding is that eventually it would wash westerly.
So, if they knew where the container would end up, how did the residents get to the container before the authorities could secure it? Lieutenant Commander Ferguson said it is not the Coast Guard's duty to retrieve lost containers. However,
in this instance, as we were doing our response mechanism, as it's unfortunate that the response of the public outpaced the relevant agency to
Which is my question,
respond
sir.
to
Why?
secure.
Well, why? That's my question.
It may be due to access limitations. Terrain limitation is accessing the area as quickly as possible, and as such, the response mechanism on the part of respective agencies to secure the shoreline and also the container may have been limited.
He also indicated that it is not uncommon for containers to get lost at sea. In fact, hundreds are lost annually. However, it is uncommon in Jamaican waters.
No, because once the container fell overboard, there is no immediate mechanism to pull the container back up on a ship, right? Because that would take heavy lifting equipment and crane, somebody to secure a container and try to pull the container out of water, which in itself is a dangerous activity, especially under the weather condition that we had over the last weekend.
However, there are still uncertainties about who should remove the container from the shore once it ends up here. Up to yesterday evening, it was still on the beach. Kelisha Williams, TVJ News.
Okay, and with that said, he said that it's not their responsibility to remove containers or whatever of that nature. Their job is a totally different thing. But even with that said, he said they actually reached out to the authorities responsible for containing the container, and they had all the information of where the container would eventually end up. And then I have to wonder, why weren't the agency responsible for say retrieving contrabands or other items off the sea, why weren't they in place? Since as they had an idea where it would have washed up, why weren't those authorities in place to retrieve the container even before the residents did? And so it would have one thinking that is there something, it would have you to think that, is there something behind this whole container and chicken? And two, when you're transferring meat, even from point A to point B, which would take even under 5 or less hours. I know for meat products to be transferred from one point to another point, why wasn't the chicken in a frozen refrigerator, or you'd call them reefers, and reefers are like portable refrigerator, portable gigantic refrigerator. And then these are what meat products would be transferred in. But then, like I said, they said the meat was frozen, so maybe the meat being frozen, they would have an idea of the amount of days the meat would remain frozen until it reached the destination. But for meat products, I know they're transported under temperature controlled containers or whatever they're transported in. As for my Jamaican people. The rounds has been going around on social media, like some of the clippings, they're so hilarious. And as much as it is funny and you get laughs from these clippings, you still have to think in the back of your head that how this, I wouldn't say mysteriously, but why didn't the authorities act fast enough to even to say have the object contained and have like everyone come out and not let the public get a hold of the contents of the container. And in my going through the news reports and even on the government website, I haven't even seen the prime minister. He hasn't even come out. If he came out, I am yet to see that to say anything on the matter. Like I don't talk politics, but something like this that has to do with humans, with people of the country, like he doesn't care. Like other people are coming out, even the MP for the parish St. Catherine, the MP Fitzjackson came out, and basically what he's doing now doesn't even make sense, because he's asking and he's reaching out to persons of the community and extended community not to consume the meat, but people have already eaten the meat, because like that is food. And people, with the price of chicken, people can't even afford to buy chicken. So yes, it's human nature, it's food, and you're gonna want to take it home, you're gonna want to cook it, gonna consume it. And with him saying that he's asking persons to um not to consume of the chicken and all that he's saying now, it to me it doesn't even make sense, because you would say the horse has already gone through the gate. So I guess people they're eating it, they're enjoying it, and they have this attitude. What doesn't what doesn't kill you fatten you. So yeah, I don't know. And even in the time when the container was at sea, the authorities would have known. All individuals involved would have been aware that, okay, because like the lieutenant said, the manifest would have shown that the container contained chicken, and they have all that information. And passing that on, you would have the MPs and other personnel in government would be reaching out to the public to let them know that, hey, make them aware of the situation, not to go there, not to try to retrieve the container and all that. So they weren't being proactive at all. In no way, shape, or form were they being proactive. So that was what happened, and it's so sad. It's really sad. It's really sad to see that how the situation was handled, and like I said, what if, and I'm still going to have to ask the question, like, what's in that chicken? Why just that container, and why did it fall off in Jamaican waters? More questions than answers, but I guess in time all this will unfold, and then we'll all know. So we'll continue to see this story unfold, and it's so sad. It's so sad for a people that, and some of us, we're so ignorant, we're so vulnerable. They say you want black men to be knowledgeable or to know stuff. You put it in a book because they don't read. People need to wake up. People need to wake up and see and know what's going on. Like, we're so blind. We are so blind, and I just hope the chicken isn't contaminated. It genuinely fell off the vessel, and it genuinely washed up in Jamaican waters, and nothing more behind it. Nothing more behind it. But we will see in the coming days, months, even years. We will see. And that is just my thoughts on that story, just. But the thing I'm not getting is that it was destined to Cayman for human consumption, but then once it reached Jamaican shores, it wasn't fit enough for human consumption. Plus animals, not even for animals to consume it. So let's just say it's because it has been at sea so long, and all the contents, bacteria from the sea, all of those compounds involved would make it contaminated. So we'll just sit at that for now to say, because it might have been spoiled. And even with some meat, once certain bacteria gets in it, even when you cook it, you won't be able to get rid of those bacteria. So maybe that's why the authorities are putting it out that it's not fit for human consumption. So let's hope that it's just because of that and nothing else. Not an experiment, not wanting to cause harm to individuals. So let's just say it's for that reason. Okay, viewers and subscribers, if you have an intake on the story, or you want to share or comment, you can do so in the comment section. Thanks again to TVJ for the clips, and I will see you in the next session. Bye.
Because people don't make them fool enough. The Perdix fall, it good. The fall good. Fall tastes fucking nice. Come like them season it already. Don't make them tell a lie. I'm Joel and them friend them. Them a one that container why them alone no enjoy. Leave it alone. It good. Me a man attack about. For them name the fall. I can't stop quinting here. Just a quint and can't stop. Lie them a tell. The fall good. Everything good boy phone. Fall safe eat.